Well, hello, JennyEason here. And today's installment I am calling Dungeons and Sirens. There seems to be a circling back going on with Pamela Anderson and Kim Kardashian. Now, I threw Kandi in because she is a queen of dungeons. And these sirens are rocking their Medusa fashion, their Versace. All three of these sirens know how to do the magic involved with media spinning, and we talked about media, social media. Well, the siren Pamela Anderson and her rock and roll husband Tommy Lee, they were the first to take what they call the sex tape. Now, they were married. This was something that, private business between a husband and wife, but somehow got leaked to the public. We all could debate on leaking these things, but they took advantage of a time when pornography was just blossoming on the internet. And this leaked sex tape basically was alchemically turned into gold. And it seems that they are back digging for more gold because they have a special on Hulu. Although I'm not sure if the appeal is still there. As Paul would say, they're ghouling it up. And it's not ageism. It's just that sexiness has an expiration date, no matter how much these people cling to youth. And they created the blueprint that Kim Kardashian seemed to follow for her alchemical golden moment. This ISIS unveiled type of feminism, it is more aggressive and edgy. It dares anyone to question it. The morality is something that changes with the waves of the ocean. The whole aspect of unveiling Isis, the goddess, the feminine principle, was first introduced, I'll say, to America and the West by Ukrainians' own Madame Helena Blavatsky. And she was a powerful woman who knew a whole lot about esoteric knowledge. And like I covered on a previous video, I say that she is the queen of the Babylonian Renaissance that came to America. This Isis, this goddess, Lilith, Medusa, Jezebel, Medea, you can call them a lot of different things. But they invite a soul to have some adventure and enter the dungeon. The dungeon is billed as a place of fun, of freedom, of do as thou will, where the curious soul is beckoned by the sirens and the nymphs of the gardens to come on into the labyrinth. Come on in, the water is fine. And those goddesses, those sirens, they do reward your curiosity at first. Now, talking about a dungeon siren, let's look at Kandi Burruss of the group Escape. What a name, right? Kandi Burruss actually turned a PR nightmare, but it seemed a little contrived that someone accused her of having a dungeon in her basement and being involved in a lot of really weird things. ATL, y'all, Hotlanta, the dirty South. So she took that scandal and alchemically spun it into gold, and she had a tour called the Dungeon Tour, attempting to use all kinds of black magic to resurrect careers that have been dead. Kandi, the Dungeon Queen, the Siren, she has been rewarded very well in this life for her part in the bonding of souls. One of the things that she has done in her many businesses is she has a sex toy business. Yes, and I believe it's set up structurally like an MLM. So yeah, you can do sex toys instead of Tupperware. Speaking of moms and Tupperware with that very weird plastic red table, Jada's form of ISIS mothering, and I guess she got it from her grandmother. She revealed that her grandmother taught her how to self-pleasure. In other words, those toys that Kandi sells. Now, if there was ever an ISIS who played with the veil, this siren here. Oh my. A siren, an ISIS, that leads from the nether regions, the back, the derriere, and is now training a new generation. And speaking of veils, she came out for that performance, like ritualistic performance art that Kanye does. And she had a really spooky veil and just all of this hermetic mystery play stuff. And the weird thing that's happening with this, while Kanye is headed to rehab, or, she is about to rekindle or circle back to her sex tape. And also another weird thing is the narrative is spinning, the typical narrative, that Kanye is the sex addict. And yeah, Getting back to the dungeon again. I mean, it starts out, kind of fun and cool. The furnishings don't seem so spooky. And the sirens of pleasure, of unveiled secret gardens, beckons a soul to go deeper and deeper into the dungeon. And it does get very dark the deeper a soul goes. What they term adult entertainment and pleasure chests and all forms of hedonism, they're sold as adventure. However, there are some warriors on the front line that have been telling the truth about the damage it does to a soul. One such warrior, her name is Dr. Judith Reisman. She has spent many years laying the foundations for deconstructing both soft pornography and Kinsey myths. Her work uncovering and documenting systemic perversion by well-funded efforts in academia, politics, business, and media, she sheds light on what spawned the sexual from birth dogma and helped to launch the global pollution of classrooms and institutions, our print and broadcast media, and, of course, the internet. And she does this through the Reisman Institute. It starts to make sense why the boundaries were placed for our safety, and so many people were obsessed with safety since 2020. But rarely do you hear that same energy when it comes to the safety of one's soul. Continuing to go into these various dungeons and enter these portals and commune with entities, because that's what happens. It starts out nice and fun, as anything does. And it's just like a Wi-Fi signal to Jah. We get many warnings, we get lots of correction, and this new form of sexual Freedom is so aggressive. You can't even like say that it's not your thing. You have to celebrate it. They're so aggressive. And it's like, again, a Wi-Fi signal to Jah. The deeper a soul goes into these sexual adventures and binds themselves in these soul ties and entanglements, that Wi-Fi signal eventually will go all the way down to 1 bar. And if a person is not heeding the various warnings about the shipwreck that will become their soul, you can't even operate apps or anything when you have 1 bar. That's how weak the signal is to Jah. And I'm telling you, the remedial action is something that should really make us take note. If we need that remedial action, and to just remove that pride and that rebellion in our heart that I'll do whatever I want because it's dangerous to the soul. That's the thing about it. Nobody is trying to tell people what to do. But when they are shipwrecked and that connection and that Wi-Fi is off, these lustful pursuits and adventures, voyeurism, the thing is, it is such a trap for the soul. And nobody is so slick that they're not going to get caught up in this trap. And no amount of being a good, slick pimp, whatever, you don't have the map for how to get out of this labyrinth. Trust, you don't have that map. I was wondering, I read a passage about how the veiling and covering of women in antiquity was done to prevent the male gaze of a strange man. And I wondered, would that strange man be a Nephilim by chance? Let me know what you think. And ultimately, in the shipwreck comes the sirens shaking their mark down. Because when that ship is wrecked, they go in for the treasure. And they take the treasure back to the caves. I thought about Jeremiah, the weeping prophet, and how he wept over the people trapped in Babylon. And he looked on the temple walls even, and the pornography and everything. The society was just so decadent. And there have been some things that I have come across in my research in architecture, like the walls of all these temples. And I can't even show the pictures of the carvings. Can you imagine? That is how graphic the scenes are on these temple walls and just all around in the statues. So this stuff is nothing new. As they say, we're like the days of Noah. And as I stated, porn is a trap. This sexual revolution and so-called freedom is a real trap. It causes people to become so callous, their hearts grow stone cold. And the desire for more and more and deeper depths of adventure, novelty, depravity, it becomes an insatiable pit, a dungeon without escape. But there is hope. Even though I said, you will not have the map. They make sure you don't have the map on how to get out. But repentance is a way out. And I know some people are going to have to crawl through really narrow spaces to get out. But let me tell you, if you get out, if you take the offer that Jah has to get out of it, even if you have to crawl through a narrow space, do it. Get out of Babylon. and have your soul redeemed and unfettered. No more soul ties to Jezebel, to Isis, Venus, you could name them all, Medea. Untie your souls. And that goes for women as well. And we just have to protect the children because that's who they're really after. So I just want to thank you for watching this video. Thank you for all the love and support. And I look forward to hanging out on a live stream night class really soon. Thank you.